Yeah, no, I mean, what you brought to it was an elevation of the original vision, which was let's continue to have everybody leave saying, "Wow, that was the best event I've ever been to." You just brought in the element of sponsorship revenue, so that allows us to monetize the event without having to necessarily pull from those folks who we want leaving saying, "Wow, that was the best event." And you gave them a new reason to say, "Wow, that was the best event," because it was so elevated from an experience perspective.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Business Lunch with your hosts, Ryan Deiss and myself, Roland Frasier. Ryan, how are you today?
I'm good. I had had kind of a rough night last night. I know you did too. But I was sitting in bed. I don't know if you ever had this experience, and I was all alone. So Emily, my wife, and the girls, they actually flew out to Toronto to go to the Taylor Swift concert. And
Nice.
then my youngest decided he wanted to sleep over at his Mimi's house, at my mom's house. So I'm like by myself, which I'm actually like very okay with. But I'm sitting in bed. I'm trying to get some work done. All of a sudden, I smell some smoke. And I'm like, that's probably not great. I'm like, maybe it's just like the heater turning on, starting to get a little chilly. I'm like, but it's not on. When right when I'm starting to think like, what could it be? All hell breaks loose in my. I mean, it's like fire alarms going off like everywhere, like in the house. I'm like now running around all over the place trying to figure out like what in my house is like on fire, like what's going on. Fire trucks come, like had to call 911. Never could find anything. I guess there was like a short somewhere.
Wow.
Never could find where it was. But yeah, like so this happened around like 11 o'clock midnight.
Last
And
night?
yeah, yeah.
So you,
So
so you
I,
haven't
I
found it. So there's a decent chance it happens again.
yeah, good chance I get back home because again, nobody's there and it's just a smoldering mess. So I've been checking the news, local news, to see if that was the case. But so yeah, a little sleepy because I got no sleep. How about you? You feeling spry today?
Well, I'm drinking
I asked because I know you're not.
I'm drinking a cherry Coke, which I haven't had since I was a kid. It just happened to be the only thing with caffeine that was in the refrigerator that I could find to try to get myself to come to life because we were up until like 3 something in the morning and had a 7 a.m. start today, meetings at 7 a.m. So it's been kind of crazy, but nobody really probably cares about that for us. So one thing that I do know though that a lot of people have been asking about is that one of our events, Traffic and Conversion Summit, has announced officially that it is no more. And a lot of people would love to know that story. And I was wondering if we might want to talk about it a little bit here.
Spill the beans, sing like a
Yeah,
bird, tell all the dirty backstory,
yeah, yeah.
name
What,
names, throw people under
give me
the
some,
bus. Is that what you're
give me some
thinking?
grit, give me some dirt.
Um, Yeah, no, it might be it might be good, kind of cathartic if nothing else.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's probably some business lessons in there too. Yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's something definitely worth talking about. Yeah, it might be good maybe to kind of take it in three parts, like talk maybe kind of give the backstory, maybe what happened sort of post acquisition and in that interim phase, like kind of what happened when we owned it, what happened after we sold it, and then where do we see maybe the future going?
Okay,
What
I
do you
like it.
think?
I think it's great.
Okay.
Let's start at the start. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so for those who don't know, just to give you, I guess, a brief, history lesson, back in I think it was 2008, 2009, our business partner at the time, Perry, and I decided that we were going to put on a marketing event. And actually, we didn't decide it; he decided that we were going to put on an event for marketers. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to put on an event because I just didn't want to. It seemed like a lot of work. I'm an introvert. The idea of like, hey, let's have a bunch of people in a room who I have to talk to sounded terrible, and it seemed risky. So it was like everything I hated all wrapped up in a ugly turd
Expensive bow.
colored bow. Yeah, terrible. So, but he's like, no, no, we'll do it. We'll make so much money. All these people are making a lot of money, which by the way was not true at
Mhm.
all. But so what I told him, I was like, okay, we can do this, but the reality is most events suck. They're just a pitch fest. You go to these events as an attendee, you sit in the crowd, and it's just one speaker after another giving some faux content. At the end, they try to sell you their stuff, and then another person comes up and does the same thing. I was like, I don't want to participate and contribute to that. So if we're going to do this, our goal is not going to be to make a lot of money. Our goal is going to be to have everybody leave saying, wow, that was the best event I've ever been to in my entire life. And so we did it, put on the event, 289 people showed up year one. And true to the goal, we made no money. In fact, we lost a lot of money. But people did leave saying, wow, that was the best event I've ever been to. And so we said, let's do it again. And if I'm not mistaken, you actually came out. You were an attendee at that second event that we did, right?
I don't know if it was the first one or second one. It's a really good question. I honestly don't remember which one was the first one, but I believe it was at the very first one. But I can't.
Okay, yeah. So you're right. You probably were at the first one. All I remember, we decided to call the event Traffic and Conversion Summit because I just remember thinking, really, businesses need two things. They need traffic and they need conversion. And so what we'll do is the first day will be about traffic. The third day will be about conversion. I'm sorry, the first day will be about traffic. The second day will be about conversion, and we'll figure out what the third day will be. And we truly had no idea. Mm-hmm. Just like classic, right? Classic. And so, but what I think was cool is it is that classic entrepreneurial experience, right? Where that accidental entrepreneur, let's start a little business. Let's see what happens. And you wake up and you turn around. And I remember it was year 3. And by the way, the only reason that we did an event the second year was because the hotel brought us the bill at lunch on day 3. And I remember it was a big bill. And I remember we did not have the money to pay it. And so we came out after lunch and we're like, hey, everybody, we're doing it again next year. And the only reason that I agreed to do the event next year was because we needed money to pay for the event this year. Just that's the truth of the matter. And so we did it year 3. It was clear that it was a thing. Year 3, there were 800 something people in the room. And I remember, talking to, our team and thinking like, this is a thing. Like, this is not just an event. This is a thing. This is a community. This is a company. This is a business. We should make this a thing. And it was actually out of that event that we launched digitalmarketer.com, the business that we still own today. And so eventually Digital Marketer became kind of the brand that owned TNC. A couple years later, you wound up partnering with us, investing in that company, joining with us, and you really were an integral part of taking this business from taking this event in particular from something that really was just, Perry and I going up there and sharing stuff into an event that really could kind of stand alone. I don't know if you kind of want to pick up what you saw at the time and some of the changes that you made really to make the business more scalable and ultimately more sellable.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we talked about production value and really it was a significant increase. I think it was double the already reasonably significant production cost to go. In 2013 was my first one as a partner with you guys. And then 2014 was when we said, let's up the game. And it was very different. It was the exhibitors were miles ahead of where they were before. We brought in, focus to how do we sell, how do we get exhibitors? I think there were 8, it was like, I remember it was like $40,000 or something of sponsor revenue the first time that.
Yeah.
that
I mean, the first couple of years, it was a couple of folding tables.
Yeah.
And I think like literally just a couple of people were like, hey, if I give you some money, can I just set out a table? We're like, yes, have at it.
So we had a whole team of people doing that, like with a focus. And I remember walking into the exhibit hall in 2014 and I was like, man, if they only knew that it was just 3 people that didn't really know what the hell they were doing that were putting this on. It looks professional. I was like, I walked in and I told my wife that. I said, this actually looks like a thing. And then I went in and AV was like the whole AV production spectacle was, amazing. And we took out selling from the stage at all and said, no more selling from the stage. It was, it was that the speaker budget to attract higher quality speakers to come was pretty cool. And I think like those things and a focus on those things and all of the ways that we could create monetization outside of selling stuff to the people that attended and actually make the event make money on its own, which turned out to be why it was saleable. And I think those were probably the major things. Do you have any other things
Yeah,
you
no, I
can
mean,
think of?
what you brought to it was an elevation of the original vision, which was let's continue to have everybody leave saying, "Wow, that was the best event I've ever been to." You just brought in the element of sponsorship revenue, so that allows us to monetize the event without having to necessarily pull from those folks who we want leaving saying, "Wow, that was the best event." And you gave them a new reason to say, "Wow, that was the best event," because it was so elevated from an experience perspective. And yeah, I mean, so the people that were there the first, 1, 2, 3 years when it was just a single ballroom event with just kind of us going up there talking about, God knows what, with no real formal agenda. I mean, I remember walking out on stage and saying, we have an agenda. It's for entertainment purposes only. We're kind of going to take breaks when we want to, good luck, you know,
And you
to
guys
actually
went
having
like
a,
10 hours with no, I mean,
yeah,
like one break. It was
yeah,
insane.
yeah. I mean, losing voice. I mean, and I remember just, it going to where it was a very structured, very professionally run event where everybody was still very, very happy. But then as the event was growing, and I think this happens to a lot of businesses, it felt like it was getting big and scary. Like to me at least. I mean, I remember when we were getting 6, 7, 8,000 people coming out to this event, when the budget is getting to be, millions and millions of dollars, I would have these recurring nightmares of like something going wrong.